Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Saparandigam Adadanastrинandantai Vidamyache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So actually, before we go to Gokul, today is a very special day, Dwadasi, the bright Dwadasi of the month of Bhadra. This is Srila Jiva Goswami's, I believe it's appearance day, if I'm not wrong. So this is a very special day. In fact, our Baladev Vijibhushan has written a very beautiful Mangalacharan for Jiva Goswami for he's given a commentary in Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbh. So to begin that commentary, he writes a very beautiful verse. Yeshanke pankena kutarka pashana vibarta gartena chaluti diditim sudam yadag shudaya maheswaram krishnam sajivam prabhu astrunorgati. He says that the shining glories of Maheswaram Sri Krishna, the great Lord Sri Krishna, ye sankya pankena. Now, punk in Sanskrit means mud. Of course, nowadays punk means something else, but in Sanskrit, punk means mud. So, those shining glories of Lord Krishna were trampled into the punk, the mud of this atheistic Sankhya philosophy. Vivarta gartena chalupti diditim. Oh, wait a minute, one more. Sankhya pankena kutarka pasuna. Tark means argument, and kutark means useless argument. Just like all the munis, they like to argue with one another, trying to defeat one another with no real purpose, not with purpose to find out the absolute truth. So this is kutark, useless argument. Pashuna, this is just a dust storm. Just like in the beginning of, end of spring, we get all these huge dust storms in Vrindavan. They come raging in and blowing dust everywhere. You can't see anything. So this useless argument is like a big dust storm. Vivarta gartena chalupti diditim. They fell into the deep black hole of this Mayavad. Vivartavad means Mayavad philosophy. That we are all God. If we are God, then how you forgot? We learned in the catechism class in our school, in our church, the first thing, God knows everything. So how God can forget himself? He knows everything, but he doesn't know himself. No, we are tiny parts and parcels of God. We become one in love with God. Not become one with God, but we become one in love with God. So the shining glories fell into that deep dark hole of Mayavad philosophy. With this pure nectarine words, Jiva Goswami has rescued those shining glories, Maheswaram Krishna, the great Lord Sri Krishna. That Jiva Goswami is my Prabhu, and he's the Ashtunogati. He's the goal of my life. So Jiva Goswami, he was from a very illustrious family, and they were eventually, their family line settled in just near Jessore in what is now Bangladesh. And his uncles were Rup and Sanatan, we know very well. His father was Anupam. He was the nephew of Rup and Sanatan. And we know that Mahaprabhu came there. They were living at one point in Ramakeli in Gaudadesh. In fact, we're known as Gaudiya Vaishnavas because of Gaudadesh. And Mahaprabhu came there to rescue Rupa and Sanatan and Upam from the deep dark world of materialistic life. Of course, Rupa and Sanatan receiving the mercy of Mahaprabhu, that's a long story, but anyway, Somehow they left for Vrindavan, but they told Jiva to stay behind and finish his studies, then come. And Jiva Goswami, in his studies, he was very diligent. Everyone was astounded. And he didn't waste his time in frivolous sports. He was always studying the scriptures. And his father had given him a very beautiful deities of Krishna and Balaram. He loved those Krishna and Balaram so much, he would put garlands for them, make artik for them. He was so attached, even he would hold them to his chest when he slept at night. And everyone was amazed. They knew that this jiva was not going to stay here very long. And so it came in his youth. He got a dream one night where he saw his Krishna and Balaram deities became alive. And they were dancing and singing, and they were wearing shining garments, and blackish Krishna and very bright Balaram. And they were singing and dancing. And suddenly, before his very eyes, they changed to Gornitai with all his associates. And everybody was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya gave him to Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda gave him back to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya again put him at the feet of Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda told him, you must go to Vrindavan and join your uncles. So when he woke up, then his dream broke. Nityananda Prabhu embraced him and his dream broke. When he woke up, then he packed up all his things and he told everyone, I'm just going to do some studies and then I'll be back. But everyone knew that Jiva Goswami would never return. First he went to Navadvip, where he met Lord Nityananda, who took him to all the holy places of Navadvip. And he met all the associates of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu had already left, but he met all the associates of Mahaprabhu, and they all blessed him. Then in Kashi, he stopped at, there was a great student of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya named Madhusudan Vachaspati. From him, he learned all the intricacies of Sanskrit, and he learned the Shastras very well, Vaishnava philosophy. And Madhusudan used to show him off to everyone in Kashi. He became very famous. He was such a scholar. They believed he must be some incarnation of some great personality, because nobody could learn the intricacies of the Shastra and Sanskrit the way this young boy had done. Finally, he reached Vrindavan. He joined his two uncles, Rupa and Sanatan. And we know he's very famous. He wrote this Tattva Sandarbh and Gopal Champu, more than 25 different books he wrote. In fact, it's described that in his lifetime, Jiva Goswami wrote 4,400,000 perfectly composed Sanskrit verses. If you add up all the 18 Puranas together, you get 4 lakhs of verses. And Jiva Goswami alone wrote 4 lakhs of, and Bhaktividya Purna Swami told me one time he was, I can't remember if it was in Udupi or it was in Srirangam, one of those places where there's, when Udupi is Madhva Sampradaya and Srirangam is Sri Sampradaya, that they were studying very carefully the books, the Satsandarbhas of Jiva Goswami. And he said, surely your Acharyas have written so many things defeating Mayavad philosophy. And they said, yes, but these Mayavadis are so tricky, they twist everything around and they make everything as one, that we are all God. But Jiva Goswami, he's written these verses in such a way, you put it forward, you put it backwards, you turn it upside down, you turn it inside out. Whatever you do, it just means Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God and nothing else. And in this Tattva Sandarbh, he has given us an ocean, huge storehouse of knowledge. We don't have to go and beg from any other sampradaya for philosophical questions. Everything Jiva Goswami has put in these Satsandarbhs. So there's so many stories about Jiva Goswami, but we don't have time. We just thought we'd say this is his appearance day. So this is a very wonderful day. We thought we'd honor him sometime because he's written so many wonderful books to help us on our way back to home, back to Godhead. So now we'll go to Gokul. A very special place in Gokul is called Chinta Haran Ghat. Chinta, some of you may know, means worry. And Haran, of course, we know means to steal away. When we go to this place, all our worries are taken away. We're all filled with so many worries about Corona, about the economy, about Trump, about Biden. We're worried about so many things. But as soon as we sit at Chintaharangat on the bank of the Jamuna, with Jamuna flowing by very sweetly, we forget all of our worries. We're just sitting on, we used to sit on the soft sands of the Jamuna, but somebody thought, why should we sit on soft sand? They put interlocking tiles. But we used to sit on the soft sand of the Jamuna. Jamuna was flowing by sweetly. Surrounding us, we're underneath a huge neem tree. And other kadamba trees are there, and people trees are there, and so many trees are there. And the parrots are chattering away, Vrinda Devi's parrots are chattering away. Beautiful place with Jamuna flowing by. And Jamuna is full of water now. It's almost come up to the place we're sitting. So full of water. We're getting, after a long time, we're getting nice rain here in Braj. So this is a beautiful place in Gokul to just, no one will bother us, and we'll hear about these wonderful pastimes. So just over 2 weeks ago, of course, we were all hearing about the birth of Lord Krishna in Gokul. And so anyway, but shortly after Krishna's birth, of course, we know that in Mathura, Vasudeva had brought back the baby girl of Yasoda to Mathura, and when Kans came to kill her like he'd done so many other children, she flew up in the sky and said, Kans, you fool, the child who will kill you has already been born somewhere else. So then he ordered that so many demons to go and kill all the children born within the last 10 days. So one of those demons was Putana. Putana was a type of witch called Kechari. Prabhupada said they're expert at riding on a branch of a tree, and they suck the blood of little children. Putana, Putana is my name. Eating little children is my game. But she was a very powerful Rakshasi, so she changed her feature into a very, very beautiful woman with beautiful golden sari and beautiful hair and beautiful jewelry and beautiful crown. She was so beautiful. She was holding a lotus flower. And she entered into Braj, hiding her real identity. She was so beautiful, even the Brishbasis did not recognize. Even the Brishbasis could not recognize her in this form. And they began to speculate. Somebody said it must be Indrani, Sachi Devi, the wife of Lord Indra, has come to see Nanda Lala, Lord Nanda Maharaj's son. No, 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 it must be Gauri, the wife of Lord Shiva. Just see how she's so golden complexion. No, 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 she's twirling a lotus flower. It must be Lakshmi Ji herself. She must have come to take darshan of Nanda Lala. In this way, all the Brishbasis made their speculations, but nobody recognized that she was a demon, and no one tried to stop her. Eventually, twirling her lotus flower, she came to the palace of Nanda Maharaj. Without even knocking the door, she entered the palace. Yasoda and Rohini were sitting there, and they were also so bewildered by seeing her beauty, they didn't do a thing. And she immediately began to make her way to where Krishna was lying in his cradle. Now our acharyas have mentioned this is a very amazing thing, because Yasoda, she's so protective of her Lala. She doesn't even let her best friends come to see Krishna so easily. Oh, he just woke up, I have to bathe him. You please come after some time. I just fed him, I have to put him to rest. You come after some time. Like this, even her best friends can't see Krishna so easily. And now this strange lady, without even knocking the door, walks into the palace, walks toward Krishna's cradle, and Yasoda and Rohini don't do a thing. So our acharyas have explained it must be that Krishna expanded his yoga maya potency, his bewildering potency, his pastime potency. There's two types of Maya. One is Mahamaya, who takes us away from Krishna. That's a type of illusion where we say there is no Krishna. Just like there was this fellow, now he's going to meet Yamaraj, named Stephen Hawking in England. He wrote so many books, how God is a nonsense thing. So that is Mahamaya. And Yogamaya brings us closer to, it's also a type of illusion because Mother Yasoda, she doesn't realize that Krishna is God. She just thinks he's her little child and she has to protect him and she has to feed him. But Krishna is protecting and feeding the whole universe. This is also type, this is Yogamaya. So Krishna must have expanded his pastime potency. She was so beautiful that even Yasoda got bewildered and she thought, is she the mother or am I the mother? Am I the mother or is she the mother? And Putana made her way to the cradle. And Krishna closed his eyes. He took one look at Putana and closed his eyes. If we get, all the acharyas have written something about that, we'll be here all night. We will leave that alone. So then she picked up that child and she had smeared a poison on her breast so strong, even a tiny drop would kill so many elephants. And she took Krishna in her lap and she pushed the nipple of her breast into his mouth. Now this is a pastime where everybody gets to take part. Because when there's, because Prabhupada explains that actually all the demons, they're killed by Mahavishnu, not by Krishna himself. In Krishna book he explains this, that all the demons are killed by Mahavishnu. Krishna only enjoys loving pastimes. So Krishna, he doesn't take poison. When there's poison, who do we call? Who's the poison buster? And the poison, who do we call? Yes, right, Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, he's also within Krishna. So Lord Shiva, he drank all the poison. Then Krishna, we said he only does loving pastimes. He drank the milk. He drank the milk. Then Mahavishnu, he's also within Krishna. He sucked out the life of Putana, and Putana began to scream, "Oh, child, leave me!" And she ran to the door, and it appeared like she flew through the sky. Actually, Krishna knew that when she dies, she'll take this enormous form, and she'll smash the whole of Gokul. So he threw her through the air, and she came crashing down in the fields. Sometimes when we come from Chintaharangad up to Gokul, to the palace of Nanda Maharaj, you see all the land goes down. The Brishvasis told me that's the place where Putana fell. You see, it goes down. Even now, if it floods this year, then the Jamuna even covers the road a little bit. Up to the road, the water comes at that low point between the two places. So way out, away from the village, she fell down and smashed trees and everything. And Mother Yasoda, she practically fainted, or not practically, she did faint. And everyone came running. And they saw this horrible Rakshasi, demoness. Her two legs were like the banks of a river. Her two breasts were like high peaks on mountains. Her nostrils were like the caves of a mountain. And her flat belly was just like the summit of the mountain, and Krishna was there on the belly. And he was very happy. He said, just see what I did. He was only like 3 or 4 days old, but he was very happy. All the Brishvasis, they were frightened to death. Somehow they made a line all the way up, one to the next, one to the next. Somebody grabbed Krishna from her belly and handed them one to the next, one to the next, back down to the lap of Mother Yasoda. Mother Yasoda regained her consciousness when she saw her Lala. And she thought, because she doesn't understand the supernatural potency of her little Lala, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She was thinking that somehow in my old age, by the grace of the Lord Almighty, I got a son. Somehow by some sinful activity I did, I almost lost my son. But Lord Narayan has saved my son, how wonderful. And she began to chant all the 12 names of Lord Narayan all around her son. Huh? It was wherever the name of Lord Narayan or Krishna is chanted, no ghosts or hobgoblins or evil spirits can remain. Then she bathed Krishna. What did she bathe him with? With cow urine and cow dung. We're all city slickers, especially here in New York. We think cow dung, cow urine. But these things are so purifying. Even modern science has found that cow dung is filled with so many antiseptic properties. And cow urine, even they're using it nowadays for different types of medicines. These things are so powerful. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was bathed with these things just to show the importance of these things and the purity of these things. Then she took a switch made from the tail hairs of a cow, and she sprinkled the dust that's raised by the hooves of the cows all around her lala. She chanted the 12 names of Lord Vishnu. And then she took her child and suckled him. And very peacefully he began to drink milk from her breast. This means that he was out of, the child drinks peacefully, means he's out of any danger. Meanwhile, Nanda Baba had gone to Mathura to pay his taxes. After paying his taxes to King Kans, he went to see his good friend Vasudev. But Vasudev had warned him, you better get back to Gokul quick, there may be disturbances there. When they saw this huge form, then Nanda Baba thought Vasudev must be a great saint. How could he understand that terrible things were happening here in Braj? And everybody was astounded, and they heard the story how the Lord had been saved. The Lord saved their little child. Then they chopped up that big, huge body, and they put cow dung and wood, and they began to burn it. Now, most of you have probably never been to the burning ghat. Burning bodies, they don't smell very nice at all. If you ever burned your hair sometime, then you know what it smells like, somewhat. But when they were burning the body of Putana, because she had been killed directly by the Lord, all her sins were destroyed. That wonderful fragrance began to fill the whole atmosphere, even wafted through the universe. Even the demigods were wondering, what is this wonderful scent that is coming? Everyone was astounded. She had been completely liberated from material existence by touch of the Lord. In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami, since we're talking about him today, he writes in his commentary that Putana, because she gave Krishna some milk, she got liberation all the way up to Golok like a mother. Like a mother means a nurse. But because she tried to, her intention was to kill Krishna, therefore she doesn't get any direct service. She has form like a nurse in the Golok, but she never gets direct service of Krishna. And Sukadev Goswami, he's so amazed, Putana came to kill Krishna, but he gave her, just because she gave him a little milk, she got liberation from this material existence. Then we can't imagine how merciful this Lord is. That even Putana, who came to kill Krishna, just for giving a little milk, she got liberated. Then my God, he wonders, what will happen? He exclaims, what will happen to those people who day and night are chanting the name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We cannot begin to even imagine their destination. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he describes that Putana, she represents the false guru. He looks like a guru, but he's trying to take us out the back door of merging into the Lord instead of serving the Lord. And in her previous life, because today is also the appearance of Lord Vamandev, so we know Lord Vamandev, he came in the form of a small Brahmin beggar and begged 3 steps of land from Bali Maharaj. At that time, some Puranas say it was his sister, some say it was his daughter. Anyway, Ratnavali, she saw this beautiful child and she thought, my God, this boy is so beautiful. I would be so fortunate to be the mother to suckle this child. Well, who was that fortunate mother who suckled this child, held him on her lap and suckled him? Then when he asked for those 3 steps, and with 1 foot he covered the whole bottom half of the universe, 2nd step, the top half, Then he said, all right, now everything is gone. Where's my third step? You're a liar. He said, no, no, I have one more thing. My dear Lord, please place your foot here on my head. Huh? Huh? And when she saw her father arrested like that, she said, yes, and if I got a child like this, I would put poison and kill him. Therefore she took birth as Krishna fulfilled her desire. He noted it down in his smartphone. She noted it down, so she came as Putana. And she got to tried to kill him, and she got milk, gave milk also. So this was Putana. This is one of the most famous Leelas of Gokul. Then, once, while Krishna was a small boy, this fruit lady came. Now this fruit lady, she was a very, 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 very low caste lady from Mathura. And in her youth, her husband died and left her with no child and no one to protect her, take care of her. She was very poor. So she used to go to the wholesale market in Mathura and get some fruits. She'd put them in a basket. She'd come to the bank of the Jamuna. She'd somehow, with some old rope, she'd tie some logs together, get to the other side of the Jamuna somehow. And she would take her basket of fruit on her head and she would go through the village calling out the names of her fruits. Mango, mango, apple, apple, save, kela, kela, banana, time pass, keli, peanut, time pass, keli, peanut. She would go through the village selling her fruits. But as she walked through those villages on the eastern side of the Jamuna, she kept hearing about this fellow named Nanda Maharaj, who has this beautiful son, who's so wonderful and so merciful. And she just kept hearing about this young boy, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Lila. And he's so wonderful. And the more she heard about him, the more she became attached. In fact, she became so attached that every day she was going through the towns shouting out the names of her fruits. She became so attached that she was carrying her basket of fruits and she thought she was calling out the names of her fruits. She was calling out the names of Krishna. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. She thought she was calling the names of her fruit, but she was calling the names of Krishna. But somehow she never came to that village. One day she thought, if I don't see this child, she became so attached just by hearing. That's why we brought you all here today. Not just so you can hear about Krishna, you become attached to him. She became so attached. He thought, if I don't see that boy, I'm going to give up my life. What is the use of living without meeting that boy? So one day she entered the village with her fruits. She just happened to enter the village of Gokul. And she thought she was calling out the names of her fruit, but by hearing about Krishna, hearing is so important. Mahaprabhu put special emphasis on this hearing. She was calling out the names of Krishna. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Krishna, he was inside the palace. He heard this lady singing his names. He ran to the door and looked out. He saw it was the fruit lady coming. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. So he saw that Nanda Baba never used money. Actually, I read an article recently, money was only invented about 2,000 years ago. We're talking about 5,000 years ago. In old times, we used to barter and we used to help one another and cooperate with one another, and we trade things, this thing for that thing for this. In this way, we all cooperated together and helped one another. Now we've invented money, and if I got money, the hell with you. So he just went to the grain bin and he got some grains. But his hand is very small and he's not expert, and little grains were falling out the fingers and out the sides. And he got to the door and the fruit lady was coming. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. She saw that little boy sitting there, and she was thinking, this must be that boy, huh, that everyone was talking about. And she put her basket down, huh, and she said, Lala, what do you want? And he said, I want some fruit. He said, what do you have? Huh? He held out his hand and he opened his hand. Only a few little grains were left. But that lady was so enchanted. She said, it doesn't matter, Lala. Huh? I will give you so many fruits. You just do one thing. You sit here in my lap, you look in my eyes and say, Maya. And Krishna, he looked up the street, he looked down the street, he looked all around. Of course, Krishna doesn't care about the caste or creed or color or anything of his devotee, but still he's playing the part of the son of the king of Braj, Nanda Maharaj. What will people think if they see him in this low-caste lady's lap? Huh? So then he sat in her lap, he looked into her eyes and said, Maya. Huh? Then he jumped out. That lady was so enchanted, she lost her heart. Huh? And she filled up Krishna's arms with so many fruits. He couldn't even carry them all. So many fruits were there. And he's just a little child, so he doesn't walk far. He's just waddling like this, trying to balance all the fruits. This was the last thing she saw as Krishna walked back into the palace. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. She picked up her basket and went back to the bank of the Jamuna. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. When she got to Jamuna, she thought, this basket's so heavy. I gave up all my fruits. She brought it down and she looked inside. There was jewels and silver and gold and pearl and diamonds and rubies. So much wealth was there. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. But she was just remembering those two lotus petal eyes, so looking in her eyes with so much love. Huh? And that sweet little voice, Maya. And she thought, what is the use of this wealth? Krishna is the be-all and end-all of my life. She threw all that basket into the Jamuna and she wandered down the banks. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. She was dancing like a madwoman and no one ever saw her again. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Somebody found the body and threw it to the fire. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So maybe one day, if we chant the name of the Lord with so much love and so much affection, maybe Krishna will come and look into our eyes. By the mercy of Prabhupada, by the mercy of our Guru Maharaj, by the mercy of our Vaishnavas, one day we'll be able to chant the holy name with so much love like that. So not far from Chintaharangat, there's a place called Ukal Bandhan. Ukal means the grinding mortar, so you can guess what pastime took place here. So one time, Mother Yasoda, she wanted to, because she was upset that everybody's complaining that my Lala's going to their house and stealing their butter. She thought it must be that the servant girls don't make it properly. So I'll give everyone, tomorrow's Diwali, because this Damodar pastime happened in the Diwali day, which is the middle of the month of Damodar, month of Kartik. But because of this pastime, this whole month has become known as Damodar. So I'll give all the girls day off tomorrow, and I will churn the butter myself, then Lala won't have to go and steal. Because it's so hard to get good help these days. Even 5,000 years ago, Mother Yasoda had this complaint. So that night, she took the best milk of Braj and she turned it into yogurt. And next morning, she wanted to churn it into butter. Now all the mothers know, and those of you out there going to be mothers soon, you'll find out very soon enough that you can't get anything done around the house as long as the children are awake. Is it? So then she put Lala to rest in his little bed. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. When Lala was asleep, then she poured all that yogurt into a big churning pot, and there's a big wooden churning rod with little spokes off it like this, and a little rope around it, and you go prrr, 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 just like the sound of the mridanga. And Mother Yasoda, she had so many bangles, ching, 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 just like the sound of kartal. And she's singing the names of her Lala. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. This is Nam Sankirtan. How Krishna is going to sleep when the Vatsalya Prem Nam Sankirtan is going on. So immediately he woke up, but his bed is very tall and he is very small. He couldn't figure out how to get down. Finally, he put his feet over the edge of the bed, but he can't reach the ground and he's stuck. And he's down so far, he doesn't have the strength to pull himself up. He's stuck there like this, wagging his feet in the air. And he's crying, but Mother Yasoda, ching, ching, brr, brr, she can't hear. Anyway, anyhow, he dropped down. Then he ran and stopped his Mother Yasoda from churning. And she thought, oh, this Lala must be hungry. So she placed him in her lap and began to feed him milk from her breast. We can imagine the fortune of Mother Yasoda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his beautiful Gopal form is drinking milk from her breast. She forgot about everything, seeing that beautiful face and little pearl-like drops of milk squirting out from the sides of his corners of his mouth. Beep, beep. She forgot about the milk on the stove for making sweets for Krishna. And then milk began to boil over. So then she just placed Krishna on the ground and ran because she smelled something burning. We know that smell. And she just threw Krishna down on the ground and ran to the kitchen. And she pulled out some of the wood from the stove and she sprinkled water. We know how to stop the milk from boiling over. Like that. But our acharyas in their commentaries on this verse have explained something else. That milk was singing that Mother Yasoda, she has the perfection of life. She has the Supreme Personality of Godhead drinking milk from her breast, but she's not worried about her own self, her own benefit. She's worried about the Vaishnava, because this milk is a Vaishnava devotee who will be offered to Krishna as sweets. Seeing Mother Yasoda's, at first, he was thinking that Mother Yasoda, she has so much love for Lala, and Lala has so much love for her. He will go on drinking, she will go on giving him milk, he will go on drinking, she will go on giving. This will go on forever. I'll never get offered to Krishna. What is the use of my life? He decided to suicide himself by jumping in the fire. But seeing the extraordinary love of Mother Yasoda, he jumped back out of the fire into the pot. Meanwhile, Krishna was thinking, I was drinking milk so nice. My Mother Yasoda just put me on the ground like this. He took a big stone and smashed the pot. Then he thought, oh, I'm going to get in trouble. And he ran out the door. But in the next room, he saw, in the storeroom, he saw all this butter from the day before hanging from the roof. So he ran inside there. He pulled that wooden grinding mortar over and climbed on top and took that butter down and went out to the courtyard. Meanwhile, after cleaning up the kitchen, Mother Yasoda came back and she saw this big mess in the butter churning room. But she saw these little buttery footprints, because all the butter went all over the floor, all the milk and whey and butter, half-churned butter. And she saw those little prints going all the way into the storeroom and then coming out going to the courtyard. Way to the courtyard, she grabbed a stick. And there was Krishna. He was eating butter. Now, those of you who've been to Vrindavan, you know that as soon as there's food, who comes? Yeah, you're right, the monkeys. So he was feeding all the monkeys. But the monkeys, they saw that stick in Mother Yasoda's hand. Boop, they all ran up the tree. Then Lala looked around. He saw Mother Yasoda's there. he began to run, and Mother Yasoda was chasing him. But Krishna, he runs faster than everyone. The Upanishads say nobody can catch him. But Mother Yasoda, by her love, she finally caught that Lala. And he saw that stick in her hands. He began to rub his eyes. And all his cudgel, that black ointment, was smeared all over his face. He said, I'll be good. I won't do it again. I'll be good. And then Mother Yasoda, she thought, if he's too frightened, it's not good. She threw away that stick. And she said, all right, I'm going to forgive you. One was breaking the pot. That was a naughty thing to do. But the stealing, if you grow up to become a thief, you will get so much trouble in life. I'm going to have to punish you for that. So you learn a lesson to stop this stealing. And your what do you say now? Conspirator in this theft was this Ukal, this granny mortar. I'm going to tie the both of you together. And every time she tried to tie him, it was 2 fingers too short. And she got all the ropes in the house, and still it's 2 fingers too short. All her friends came and they began to laugh. Yesterday you tied him with a little string. I mean, this morning you tied a little string around his waist, just like we see in the villages, all the little boys with little black strings. Now with all this rope. Then Mother Yasoda began to laugh. And then she took some more rope, and Krishna, he allowed her to tie him up. Krishna can only be bound with love. Then he went to, she went to clean up the butter churning room. Meanwhile, all the Kahur boys came, and they saw Krishna all tied up like that. They said, hey, Muddy, come on, help, Madhu Mangal. Batuka, come here and help me. And Madhu Mangal says, you guys always make the plan. You guys always execute the plan. Then you guys all run away. I'm lame. I get stuck behind. I'm the one that gets in trouble. Now you're in trouble. I'm not helping. Oh, come on, Stoka Krishna. Sridam, Sudam. They tried to untie Krishna, but this knot is tied with Vatsali Ras, and the Kahur boys are in Sakhi Ras. Krishna, all right, you guys are useless. Get out of the way. Then he remembered those 2 trees that were cursed by Narad Muni. They're actually Managriva and Nalakuvir Arjun tree. So he crawled in between. But the Ukal got stuck. Ukal, Kal means a very, very bad person. Kal means a very, very bad person. But because he's connected to Krishna by these ropes, therefore he was able to liberate. These 2 trees came crashing down. Same like us, we're very, very bad, but somehow or other, we're connected to Prabhupada. We take these books and we go out and distribute them and liberate people by our connection to Krishna through Prabhupada. So those 2 trees came crashing down and everyone came running. Even Nanda Baba, came running. He said, Krishna, he immediately went, he's also in Vatsalya Ras, so he untied that knot and Krishna jumped into his arms. He said, who did this? He said, Maya, what did you do? I didn't do nothing. Then Mother Yasoda came running. She heard this 2 trees come crashing down, and nobody can understand. Arjun trees are very difficult to crash down. And then Krishna, when Mother Yasoda came running, Krishna jumped into the arms of Mother Yasoda. Yasoda Damodar ki jai. So I forgot to ask how much time we have, but I usually think it's around an hour. So I'm going to put my voice to rest here, unless you give me some more time. Otherwise, we can have some questions. I don't know if there's Artik or anything else. What's the rest of the program? But we'll put our voice to rest here. Thank you very much for this opportunity to serve you in this way. Hare Krishna. If there's any questions, and I can try to answer them.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Deena Bandhu Das Prabhu, I'm calling from Portugal.
Portugal.
Yes, and I have a question, if I may. But first, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
Prabhu, my question is related to you saying during your class that the after effect of Putana trying to poison Lord Krishna is that she became liberated.
Yes.
She gave a little milk,
Yes.
milk to Lord Krishna, and the after effect, it was that she became liberated. And then you said that we cannot imagine if a little poisoned milk given to Krishna makes the giver of the poisoned milk liberated, we cannot imagine what is going to happen to the ones who are there devoting themselves to Lord Krishna through incessant chanting of the mantra, of the Maha Mantra.
Yes.
So my question is...
Astounding.
Sorry?
I said astounding.
What is
your question?
My question is related to taste, Krishna tasting the poisoned milk given by Putana and tasting the chanting of the Maha Mantra made by his devotees. Is there a difference of taste for Lord Krishna?
Well, the poison was taken by Lord Shiva. Krishna just took the milk. But Krishna is so kind. Prabhupada said a Vaishnava, the qualities of a Vaishnava is that he takes the nectar and leaves the trash behind. So Krishna saw, she tried to kill him, but she gave a little milk, so Krishna took the good part.
And when Krishna is experiencing the chanting of the Maha Mantra by his devotees, is there a difference of taste?
Of course, the devotees are chanting in love, so that's what I'm saying. If even out of evil intention, she did a little service by accident, she got so much benefit. What will happen to us? We're chanting the holy name by Prabhupada's order. We can't imagine. It's just amazing.
No, I cannot imagine. Can you imagine what is going to happen?
No, I can't. Even Sukadev couldn't imagine. So how are we going to imagine?
Thank you, Prabhu, very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else has any question?
Everybody fell asleep?
No. I just have one more question to the host of this meeting. Where can I find this recorded class, please?
I don't think our host knows even.
I know that this class is being recorded, and I need to find it to put it in my archive.
Well, if you follow, I can share a link of Deena Bandhu Prabhu's YouTube channel on the chat. So the video will be uploaded over there. It's not been shared yet, but it will be uploaded over there.
Oh, please give me the link on the chat box, please. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful class. Thank you very much.
¿Cuál es su nombre?
Vijaya Krishna Das. And my material name is Victor.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wonderful service.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else has a question? So there's no more questions, and we'll put our voice to rest here. We're very happy to be here at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Govindadev after a long time. And we hope that all of you remain safe and increase your Krishna consciousness. And there's a wonderful opportunity coming up very soon, because on 2nd September, at least here in India anyway, it's Bhadra Purnima, and Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, like 13th verse, chapter 13th verse, 12, 13, 13, who gives a gift of Srimad Bhagavatam on the full moon of Bhadra, he arrives at the supreme destination of all destinations. So you can contact your local temple and buy as many Srimad Bhagavatam sets as you can and give them away and get the supreme destination. Wonderful opportunities there coming up. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna
very
Prabhu.
much.
Dandavat pranam at your lotus
Hare
feet.
Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare,
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.